The silent language of tails. A mysterious signal. Lena sat on her couch, staring at her cat, Whiskers. His tail flicked back and forth like a metronome, his green eyes locked onto her. She reached out to pet him. But before her fingers touched his fur, his tail twitched violently and he bolted away. She sighed, puzzled. What was he trying to tell me? If you've ever lived with a cat, you've likely experienced a similar moment. Unlike dogs, which wear their emotions on their sleeves, or rather, on their wagging tails, cats have a more subtle, enigmatic way of communicating. Their tails serve as a silent language, expressing everything from affection to agitation, from curiosity to fear. In this story, we'll follow Lena's journey as she unravels the mysteries of feline tail language, learning not only to understand her cat better but also to build a deeper bond with him. Chapter 1: The Flick of Frustration. Lena had always been a dog person. When she moved into a small apartment where dogs weren't allowed, she adopted Whiskers from a local shelter, thinking he would be a low-maintenance pet. She was wrong. Whiskers was independent, unpredictable, and often seemed to have an attitude. One evening, Lena noticed Whiskers sitting by the window, his tail swishing rhythmically. She approached him with his favorite treat. But as she extended her hand, his tail flicked sharply. Before she could react, he turned and swatted her with a soft but clear thump of his paw. Confused, she searched online and found a surprising revelation. A flicking tail in a resting cat often signals irritation. Whiskers had been peacefully observing the world outside, and she had interrupted him. Chapter 2: The Twitch of Curiosity. Determined to understand Whiskers better, Lena started observing his tail movements more closely. One afternoon, while unpacking a box of books, she noticed Whiskers crouched beside it, his tail tip twitching in short, quick motions. She hesitated. Was he annoyed? She remembered her research. A cat's tail tip twitching, while they are crouched or focused, usually signals curiosity or playfulness. Tentatively, she grabbed a string and dragged it across the floor. Whiskers pounced, his tail flicking in excitement. She laughed, realizing that what she once mistook for frustration was sometimes just his way of saying, "I'm intrigued." Chapter 3: The Slow Swish of Contemplation. One evening, Lena sat on the floor, scrolling through her phone. Whiskers approached her, his tail moving in slow, deliberate arcs. She reached out to pet him, but he hesitated. His tail continued its slow sway. This time, Lena paused. A slow tail swish often means a cat is thinking, unsure about what they want to do next. Instead of forcing interaction, she waited. After a few moments, Whiskers stepped closer and rubbed against her arm. For the first time, she felt like she had truly understood him. Chapter 4: The Quiver of Excitement. A week later, something unexpected happened. When Lena came home from work, Whiskers ran to her, his tail upright and quivering at the tip. She panicked. Was he sick? But a quick search revealed that a quivering tail, especially in an upright position, is often a sign of happiness and excitement. Overwhelmed with warmth, she bent down, scratching behind his ears. "You're happy to see me?" she whispered, feeling their bond deepen. Chapter 5: The Thrash of Warning. Not all tail movements were positive, though. One evening, while brushing Whiskers, she noticed his tail starting to thrash side to side in large, sweeping motions. She stopped immediately. A thrashing tail is a clear sign of irritation or impending aggression. Sure enough, Whiskers turned his head sharply, his ear slightly back. Instead of pushing forward, she gave him space, learning that respect was just as important as affection. Chapter 6: The Puff of Fear. One stormy night, thunder roared outside. Whiskers, who had been curled on the couch, suddenly leaped up, his tail fluffed like a bottle brush. Lena gasped, realizing he was terrified. A puffed-up tail means a cat is scared or trying to appear bigger to defend itself. Instead of reaching for him immediately, she sat quietly, speaking softly. Within minutes, his tail returned to normal, and he cautiously approached her lap. Chapter 7: A Silent Conversation. Months passed and Lena felt like she had unlocked a secret code. She no longer saw Whiskers as unpredictable, he was just speaking in a different language. One evening, as she settled into bed, Whiskers curled beside her. His tail wrapped around his body in a relaxed loop. A tail curled around the body often means a cat is comfortable and secure. Smiling, she whispered, "I understand you now, Whiskers." And for the first time, she felt like he understood her, too. Epilogue: The language of love. Lena never thought she'd be a cat person. But learning to read Whiskers' tail language changed everything. Cats may not speak in words, but their tails tell stories of excitement, frustration, curiosity, and love. And if you listen closely, you'll realize they've been talking to you all along.